Mayor Lowry.
Here.
Councilman Rodwald.
Here.
Councilman Grimm.
I'm here.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Here.
Councilman Cobb.
Here.
And Vice Mayor Cook.
Here.
7 members present.
Thank you. Sergeant Lehman, you good to go? Can you hear us?
I'm good to go.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, moving on to the invocation tonight will be done by Vice Mayor Cook.
Again, if you'll bow your heads, our Heavenly Father, please guide us tonight as we attempt to do the business for the citizens of this great city. Guide us through all of our workings. Please protect our first responders, our EMTs, our firefighters, our deputies, and all of our troops across the seas. With that, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Vice Mayor. And to the pledge. The pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
And to the republic
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
and justice for all.
all.
Thank you, Mr. Grimm. All right. And moving on, we'll need the action on the minutes for the work session for 5/3/21.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, council, on those minutes? All right. When you're ready, Ms. Berner.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
Sustain, I wasn't here.
Okay. Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald.
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Councilman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Minutes accepted 7-0.
Thank you very much. And then we'll need a motion to accept the regular scheduled council meeting minutes for May 3rd, 2021. So moved.
It's 6-0. Mr. Cobb abstained.
Oh, yes, you're right. 6-0-1. Minutes accepted.
Oh, I thought you were, I didn't know I thought you were talking about the date. I'm like, no, this is for May. All right. So motion for the regular scheduled minutes for May 3rd, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Nowakowski, the motion, a second by Mr. Grimm. And any discussion on those minutes, council? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
All right. Councilman Nowakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston.
Yes.
Councilman Cobb.
Sustain, I was not there.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald.
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Those minutes are accepted 6-0-1.
All right, thank you very much. And moving on, communications, if needed, firework discussion. We went over pretty thoroughly, I think, in the work session. So unless anybody has anything else to add to that, we'll move on. Okay, and city manager's report, Mr. Bridge. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of public. The city manager report, we'll start with our police administrator, Sergeant Lehman.
Hey, good evening, everyone. All right, for the month of April, the New Carlisle deputies patrolled 5,811 miles. They took 156 calls, calls for service, 39 reports, and actually 57 assists. They had 12 criminal arrests. Out of them 12 criminal arrests, 2 were for felonies and 6 misdemeanors. And then 4 of the 12 were for warrants. This month, they had 79 traffic stops with 47 warnings and 32 moving citations. The business checks were 420, and with citizen contacts, they had about 84 citizen contacts. The changes that we have going on right now is actually starting today. Deputy Moody is leaving the city of New Carlisle, and he is moving on to an open position that was in Bethel Township. And so we'll be having another opening and we'll be interviewing for that here real soon for some new deputies to come out and actually start working in the city. So at this time, that's everything that I have right now.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Council, any questions for Sergeant Lehman? Mr. Cobb.
Yeah, Mr. Lehman, is there a reason why all these deputies come out and then they leave?
No, right now, what I'm seeing is you get a lot of young deputies that are out. Deputy Moody, I believe, is just trying to continue to grow within the department. I know he's been interviewing for like detective spots and things like that. The deputy that was in Bethel Township accepted a new position, still within the sheriff's office, but it's something new that's first time offered to our agency, and it's with Homeland Security, and it's a task force officer. So with that position coming open, Deputy Moody applied over there. I think right now we're just seeing a little bit of change around, only because you had one of our New Carlisle deputies get promoted to detective. When Sheila Cruz became a detective, and then Rachel Allender became a sergeant. So we miss them greatly out there. Even to this day, I still hear people talk highly of them. So I like that we have Deputy Major Sachs that's actually living in the city, and he's vested within the community. So he's been doing a very good job here of late, and I'm going to be leaning on him to be that senior guy that actually molds our deputies into what we want for the city of New Carlisle.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cobb. Mr. Grimm.
Didn't Deputy Beislein leave?
She left the sheriff's office altogether. Yes.
So who do we have in the city now?
Right now you have Major Sack, and then you have Deputy Garman, you have Deputy McDuffie, and then you have Deputy Liming working right now.
Okay.
So as in short, you have Deputy Harris is going to be a new deputy out in New Carlisle. He actually interviewed the last time for that opening, but he is military, and actually, unbeknownst to him, when he was actually interviewing and accepted the job and was coming out here, he got deployed. So because of his deployment, Deputy Liming is actually working the city of New Carlisle, and he actually used to be a New Carlisle deputy.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Grimm. Mr. Rodwell, did you have something?
Yes, Mr. Lehman, out of these 156 calls taken, you know how many were taken for the old Bell Manor location?
No, we've actually started talking about that just to try to figure that out. At the time, I was honestly working on trying to get some numbers, but that was the same day that our computer system crashed. And since the county's system's locked up right now, I mean, we can't get anything at this time.
Okay.
One of the other things is, I got to be, when we're reviewing that, we'll talk more about, what's mental health issues, compared to what's criminal issues.
Okay.
But
I've gotten a lot of complaints. I was down at the ballpark all day Saturday, and quite a few of our citizens came up to talk to me about the Bell Manor
Yes.
issues. And so.
And I got that, it's actually wrote on my desk, and, and I'm going to be getting some numbers together for you on that. The other thing that we had some illegal dumping going on over there at the pool, and, Deputy Garman did a real good job following up on that, taking care of that situation as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rodwell. Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Sergeant Lehman, for the report as always. Excellent job. We appreciate you being out here with us. It's been great working with you so far. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bridge, back to you, sir.
I'm trying to get Miss Harris squared away here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm in.
Yeah, I think it's your
I
end.
can see everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. If you give me a second, I'll go ahead and share the screen like we do for the city manager report. I was preoccupied when Lehman started going there.
Mr. Bridge, you might be able to have Colleen just turn her video off, and she might be able to stream and be clear for us on the audio.
Ms. Harris, did you hear that? I think it's,
Yes. The video off.
yeah, just go ahead and turn your video off. See if that improves your internet connection.
Okay.
Also, Mr.
Can
Bridge.
you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can
Yes.
hear you fine. Yep.
Yes. I didn't know if you wanted to extend the offer for Sergeant Lehman that he could leave if he needed. I'm not saying he needs to leave. I know he looks like he's busy.
Yep. Sergeant Lehman, you are more than welcome to log off, sir, if you choose to.
I appreciate that, guys. Right now I'll stay on, but if I end up getting a call or something, I'll go to that.
Yeah. I didn't want you to make you think you weren't welcome. We know you're busy.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So we'll go ahead and move on here with the city manager report. And up next is our fire chief trustee. Is he there? Is he muted? I can't see everyone on this. I'm sharing my screen.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Good evening, everyone. For the month of April, the New Carlisle Fire Division responded to 90 EMS calls in the city, 22 EMS calls in Elizabeth Township. The division responded to 5 fire-related calls in the city and 2 in Elizabeth Township. We had 3 EMS calls answered by mutual aid by either Pike Township or Bethel Clark due to Medic 52 being on a response. We responded to 2 mutual aid calls for Pike Township and 3 mutual aid calls for Bethel Park. Other than that, the department right now, division is moving on. Hold on a second, please. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, dispatch.
Could you call into dispatch, please?
Copy. Other than that, the division is moving on. Our new gear washer is coming in. We installed this week for the grant money that we received the grant for. And still waiting on the new staff vehicle to be delivered. And once it's delivered, it'll be lights and siren and everything put on it, and it'll be put in service. Other than that, I have any other questions?
Council, any questions for Chief?
Nope.
All right, Chief, thank you very much. Thank you for the update and good job as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. As offers extended to you as well. Please feel free to log out when you wish. All right, we're moving on with the city manager report with our finance report presented by Ms. Harris, our finance director. Can you still hear us okay, Ms. Harris?
I can, and thank you. And I apologize. That's the first time I've had computer problems at home. So I now can see everyone. And Mr. Bridger, are you going to share your screen? Or do you?
Right now.
All right.
And it looks like the whole.
And I'm sorry to take that.
All right, there we go.
Thank you. Again, I apologize for that problem this morning or in the beginning of the meeting. This is your April finance report. And we'll start with let's just go down to the bottom with the month to date okay. Sorry, go up just a little bit and we'll do the revenue side. The estimated revenue is still the same, $5,981,374. And then below that, for the month of April, we did receive $1,148,742.02. That large increase is due to one of our 2 real estate tax payments that we received from Clark County. The bottom then will be the receipt to date is $3,061,209.25. Over to the top right side is our original budget 2021. It was $7,234,070. We did have the first supplemental based at $99,500. We do have action on the table tonight, which will change those figures for the next month's report. Our total budget as of this reporting, which is April, is $7,333,570. Going to our expenditures paid for the month of April, we expensed $687,000 $819.97 for a total year to date of $2 million.
I think she cut out.
Yeah.
She did.
Yep.
Okay, so our expenses to date for 2021 so far are $2,575,486.48. So continue on with the finance report. Right here, we have our statement of cash. We have our beginning balance. We have our ending balance. So right now we're at $4,653,164.57. So continuing on, we have our bank recs that Ms. Harris provides for us monthly. And then we go on to our bank report. This is the city's bank account balances. And then it goes on to the statement of cash and then expenses and revenue reports. Any discussion on the finance report?
No, don't believe so. And then we'll need a motion to accept her report, please.
So moved.
I'll go with Vice Mayor with the first
Second.
and second by Mr. Grimm. Any discussion before we call for vote? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Burner.
Okay, Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston. You're muted.
Yes, sorry, dog was whining.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwell,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Motion is accepted 7-0.
Okay, and moving on with the city manager report, our service report with Mr. Kicko, our service director. Give me 1 second, Mr. Kicko. The revenues and expenses, it's kind of long. Computer's lagging today. Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to call it on sharing the screen. It is not cooperating. I do apologize.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kicko.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bridge. Good evening, Mayor, members of council, members of our Zoom party. I'll just give you an update on some of the items that have changed since the last report. So I did go downtown, measure on Main Street, measure Washington Street, and some of Jefferson. I got some temporary marks down there. Looks like angled parking for Washington Street is out. It is not wide enough to do any kind of angled parking down there. I did gain about 5-6 feet on the south side of Washington, on the west side of Main Street, to where, you know, we can get a little bit closer to the stop sign, but it doesn't garner us or gain us a new parking spot. So we're still with one ADA spot in that location and two other spots that can fit between the alley and Main Street. With Main Street, I think I can get 11 parking spots. We're probably going to have 10 24-foot parking spots and one that is going to be 20 to 22, I think. I have to go back and look at my notes, but they've been changing constantly to try and fit. With the other side of Main Street, the east side of Main Street, and that part on Jefferson, I'd love to start the parking earlier, but I do, you know, like most people, see that truck traffic when they're exiting or entering onto the corner. Say I'm heading south on 235 and I make a right onto West Jefferson. Those semis are not clearing that corner. Sometimes they're crossing that double yellow. So I'm having to move parking away, like past the waterbed store, farther than I'd really like to. And I even put a dot out in the road to where it would show the outside corner of that vehicle. And it was numerous times. I mean, obviously, if it was there, they would probably get around it, but I don't want to take a chance of a side swipe because I know with my polls and a few other things, they'll just leave. Sometimes they don't even feel that if they side swipe something. So, but I think we did gain some spaces. So we will, once weather gets nice and I confirm some other ORC and city codes to make sure that we're stopping where it's supposed to be, we'll get those painted. Inside the double yellow line for the fire and police, we do have the supplies. We've been, pretty swamped, so we're just trying to finish up a few items, but we do have the paint to get that completed. Durapatching is underway. We are about done. We're getting ready to concentrate on alleys and a few spots that have gotten bad in the last couple rains. We got some of Pike Street. I was on a couple others today that need some attention, so we'll be hitting those hard pretty soon. Sanitary survey, it is just private wells. I will be digging to that soon. I did get a letter from the EPA that says that our violation notice of Adams Water Tower obviously is going away, for obvious reasons. So we are looking really good as a department in the eyes of the EPA. Coming soon, I'll be updating Mr. Bridge. Well, I kind of keep him updated already, but we'll probably be letting everyone know of kind of the things that we got going on with valves. And this is really pertaining to the old section of town. So kind of give an update of what we've been seeing in the last month or so outside of the typical projects we've been doing, these additional things that we're starting to see with aging infrastructure. Of course, we started prepping for the pool. We did pass our inspection today. We got to have an update on our baby pool sample tomorrow, but everything's looking good down there. Sewer, really not much of an update. We're still working on clarifiers and using some of the possible federal funding that may come our way. Fenwick Phase 1 is in the design phase. Just got the set of final plans that go out to the utilities to verify our locations of where water, sewer, AT&T, gas, electric are. Once we get those in, those are due within the next couple weeks. They will make any adjustments necessary. We're expecting the plans to be finalized into the county for the commissioners meeting and our bidding probably sometime in July for a fall build. And I'll keep council up to date as if that schedule changes. The engineers have received the bids for the resurfacing of the few streets that we're going to do this year in 2021. We do have $110,000 now set aside. We did not, well, the county's setting up the bid tab right now. I don't know the specifics except for asphalt that we normally estimate to be $72 and $75 per ton according to intermediate or surface. They came in at 75 both. So we're not going to save any money this year. I do know we are able to buy some asphalt cheaper. So I don't know if it's the contractors looking to go after a few extra bucks to make up for past stuff or whatever, but we're not going to get away with a little cheaper underestimate type project this year. So and moving on, we did have our pre-bid inspection inside Madison Street School. They will be setting some bricks aside. Most of the contractors said that they usually palletize bricks and set them outside of the fenced area, for keepsakes. We did walk through, cornerstone that's there, has a little bit of information on it, any kind of the one set of lockers to try and get those out. I didn't get any backlash on that if they can save them. And then quite possibly if they tear the roof off and can salvage a few of those auditorium seats, they said they have no problem getting those out. I think the biggest thing for this was, it's just the size. And we had, I want to think 10 people who picked up bids. So it's pretty crazy. We have a lot of bidders. That will be this Thursday. I'll be over to county to see who gets this. And let's just hope that our estimates come in at or under. And I think that is all I have on my report. I can entertain any questions on those or anything going on in the city.
Council, any questions for Mr. Kitco? I had just a few, Mr. Kitco, if you didn't mind. You on the streets, the ones that we're going to be getting the bidding for and whatnot. Do you have, and I know in your past reports you'd mentioned some of the ones you were hoping to do. Do you have an actual list of which one you're going to do?
Yeah, this will be Cambridge Court, Sunset, Deerfield, and South Scott from Madison to Linden.
Okay.
I'm hoping I can still, I think we're still going to make that cut. and not have to, trim any of it, but those are the ones that we'd put out for the final bid.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And also, my next question is, I see your guys are all over the place working. I don't know if this is a question that's appropriate for this time or maybe next year during budget or whatever. Just, we've added a lot to the city. We've got the planning department, which is doing great. Are we to a point where whether it's we pick one department or we go for two, for example, does the street department need another body in it? Does the water department need another body? I mean, is that something we need to look at? I mean, I know that you guys, just going off your reports, you guys are, to me, it looks like you guys are spread really all over town. I mean, is that something that the city needs to look at anytime in the near future to hire another full-time street, water, sewer, wherever it may be needed?
I'm always looking for an extra body, but the funny thing is full-time year round for each department, we're probably, I would say, probably just shy of that, but hence let's call street department public works. From basically April till the end of October, that's where that extra guy, like a seasonal, comes in, that type of thing. Yeah, but we're getting close to, the number of parks we got. It's always nice to have an extra one, but as with that comes with the cost, wages, fringe benefits. That's always been the struggle to try and keep an extra full-time employee.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. I was just curious. It's come across my head a few times. I've seen you guys just so busy. It's like you guys got to be overworked. It almost looks like, but anyways, thank you to them. Also on the water tower, for those of you that weren't there, even though I was so sad to see it go, it was such an experience to watch it come down. It was, it's amazing how fast they worked. And, I didn't get to talk to any of them, but maybe for a second or two, some of their crew was interested in some of the pictures that were getting taken, but what amazing experience to watch that thing come down and how quick it came down too. It was really neat. So I just want to say that. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Just one more quick thing. Also, we have an ad out there for a seasonal and people aren't jumping at it. It's just like with the other job. I would one day thought $12 was good to go sit on a commercial Z-turn mower and drive around, but I haven't any takers yet. So just anybody knows anybody, we're looking for seasonal right now.
Is there any chance that would need to get bumped up in price? I mean, I know you guys budget for X amount of dollars, but when I shared it, because tried to help get the word out, I think one of the first comments I said someone had said was, they could go to McDonald's for 13 or something. So I didn't know if that was ever something you guys would talk about. If you didn't get anybody to apply, would you guys raise that possibly?
That'd be something I would discuss with Mr. Bridge, of course.
Right. Okay.
$12 press.
Ms. Eggleston, go ahead.
On the Madison Street School, and I know we've discussed it, and I know I've been told, and my mind just kind of went blank. Once it gets demolished, the land is still the city's, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You good, Ms. Eggleston?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. All right. Anyone else for Mr. Kitco before we move forward? All right. Thank you, Mr. Kitco. We appreciate it as always, sir.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Kitco. Great report. Extended to you too, sir. If you'd like to log off, go enjoy your evening. And we'll move on with the city manager report. I'm going to give our planning director's report tonight. He is out with a injury. So Mr. Hutchison, we wish you the best for a speedy recovery. But I'll just go ahead and read his report on his behalf. Zoning, 21 permits year to date, 38 received zoning applications, 34 approved zoning permits. He also has supplied council with a new compliance case violation report. So definitely look at that. It's packed full of great information there as far as the statistics and the type of violations that have been administered. So under his note taking, he have here under economic development, community development, 210 North Pike has said bid specs are being prepared, and that is to go ahead and demolish that house. Tool Lending Center added a gas garden tiller to the inventory. He had a great response from the Channel 7 promo. And he also has planned an open community event. It's going to be a good time. And it says the Tool Lending Center will open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, June 5th. This special event is open to all City of New Carlisle residents who live within the city limits. Come visit the Tool Lending Center and see all that we have to offer. Lending will be held during the event at Smith Park, with parking at the shelter house or parking on Smith Street. Continuing planning projects he has shared with council. Comp plan update. It's ongoing, and that is currently in planning board review. Planning website update. May 17th, it launches on the report, but since then, since the creation of this report, we did have to push that back to June 1st. We'll get to that a little bit more later on. JAS mapping software is going to be in late May. Planning record storage organization is ongoing. New compliance truck, new code compliance truck coming soon. He is expecting that to be delivered in mid-May. And planning and exterior property maintenance code reviews are currently ongoing. That is all he has listed his for report. I would be happy to entertain any questions.
Mr. Grimm.
At the last meeting, we were told about a resident that wanted to purchase land behind Twin Creeks. A good friend approached me the other day. He said he was the one that made the request. And he said he didn't want to buy the land. He wanted to lease it. What he wants to do is put in steps so his grandkids can get down to the creek without having to navigate that cliff, and maybe put up 1 or 2 temporary structures like a fire pit. If that's true, then I would not be opposed to leasing it for, say, $1 a year.
Yeah, I go ahead, Mr. Bridge.
Those are two completely different people. Me and Jake will have a meeting with the guy who wants to do the steps Thursday, and that will be a lease council would have to approve. There are 2 separate people.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Anything else, Mr. Grimm?
No, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I had one, actually. I want to backpedal. I don't know if this will be planning or back to Mr. Kitco and Mr. Bridge. When I bumped into you guys at the city building, we were discussing a little bit of Pike Street and some some curb striping and whatnot there. Was anything ever kind of looked into on your guys' end on that?
No, because we need a motion from council as a whole to direct us.
Okay, well, okay, so with what the discussion was and I think Dan and probably everybody on council, to be honest, I think we've all had people, posting, calling us, talking to us about issues on Pike Street, numerous problems, and parking is one, I think. And one of the potential ideas is to, if I'm remembering, stripe the side of Pike that is up against that runs up against and parallel with the old Bell Manor property, therefore alleviating some, I guess, parking issues and a lot of people, gathering out and hanging out with their cars is the way I understood the possible idea. So you would need a motion to look into that idea.
Yeah. So when we discussed it, administration, we were directed by council as a whole. So me, the mayor, and Mr. Kitco had a fantastic conversation about what's going on over there and ways to remedy that. So some of the things we looked at was just yellow striping in only areas that there's a driveway across the street, because it's a very narrow road to begin with. Pike Street is. So one of the things that we had looked at was maybe having Mr. Kitco out there and just looking at the best way to utilize it. And then one of the things I had mentioned to Mr. Mayor is, at this meeting, go ahead and discuss it with council. So council as a whole can motion us to go and look at that, and then potentially paint the whole side of that street yellow for no parking if it warrants it.
Right. So if we were to give Mr. Bridge a motion to investigate into that matter, just to, like I said, it would basically be striping that side. It would ease a little bit of, parking issues for people who park across the street that back out and can't get out because there's cars parked directly behind them and things of that nature. And it might ease up and add a little comfort to the people that live back there as well. So, Mr. Vice Mayor, did you have anything you wanted to add? Because I know you were in on that a little bit.
This is opening up a little bit of a can of worms, I guess. And I had talked with a couple of the residents down in that area, mainly about some of the problems that were probably on the police end of it more than so in the parking. But from what I understand, one of the problem people that was in the apartment building has been evicted. So some of those problems should be resolved. Now, the parking issues, yes, I agree, we've got a problem down there. That's been a problem ever since I can remember.
Okay. Mr. Cobb,
Is it feasible just to eliminate parking on Pike Street?
you mean altogether?
Yep.
I don't know, and I think that's what that's what the motion would do. It basically give Mr. Bridge the okay to get with Mr. Kitco, and if need, I don't know, if that would be part of Derek's job as well, but just to find out legally what they can do to possibly stripe the whole thing or sections or however it may be. It's not to actually do anything. It's just to research it more or less.
I'll make the motion for Mr. Bridge to look into that.
Second,
So a motion by Mr. Cobb and a second by Ms. Eggleston to ask Mr. Bridge to direct his, go ahead, Mr. Bridge.
Can you clarify is it for us to get on Pike Place and go through with the work, or just investigate and come back with a report at the next meeting?
Yeah, that's what I would assume, is go through with your staff and look into the options, basically, of what we could do legally and bring it back to council. That's what Mr. Cobb said. That's what I heard him say.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't get to finish. Yeah, I'm
Thanks for clearing that up, Mr. Cobb.
you're welcome.
Good.
Mr.
It's good to have you back.
It is.
So, all right. So, Ms. Berner, you got that?
I think so.
All right. Well,
And my
if
second
you-
was Eggleston, right?
Yes. Motion by Mr. Cobb and second by Ms. Eggleston.
All right.
When
So
you're ready.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes,
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston.
yes.
Motion's accepted 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Berner. Thank you, Mr. Cobb, council. All right. And back to you, Mr. Bridge, I believe. Kind of forgot where we were.
I think we're just got done with the planning and zoning report. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so move on for informational item, under informational items. We have the mayor's court bullet point, legislation next step. Basically, we got a slew of things that Jake and I are either beginning to draft or currently working on. The court itself, funds for the computeration of it, the pay for that, traffic and parking violation bureau, magistrate clerk. So as this moves along, we'll have some other steps we have to do, but Jake, on the back side of things, we are working on some things as you see the legislation that's up for introduction tonight. City buildings, I would like a motion to back this if council don't mind, but I would like to reopen all city offices, buildings, etc., back to the public on normal operations on June 2nd, 2021.
Motion open up the city buildings and all.
Second,
Any discussion? All right. When you're ready, Ms. Berner.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
yes,
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
yes.
Motion's accepted 7-0.
Mr. Grimm.
On a related subject, since all the health restrictions are being lifted, I would move that we, beginning with the June meeting, first June meeting, we go back to live meetings at the shelter house.
Second.
Any discussion on that, council? Mr. Rodwell.
In doing those, I mean, how are we going to, are we going to go with mask? Are we
Volunteer.
gonna if you're vaccinated, then can you go maskless? Are we going to maintain our 6-foot distance inside? I mean, just because we're opening up, there's still going to be regulations for public public domains, hospitals, public transit, things of that nature. We're still going to be inside. So, I mean, I'm not against it. I'm just asking, are we going to require citizens to wear masks? Is it going to be a voluntary or honor system?
I was assuming that if as long as it stays to his original plan on the second or whatever that date was, that drops all required mandates, does it not?
Mm-hmm. Except for nursing homes, hospitals, and certain other.
Right.
But public meetings is not one of them.
Yeah, that's the way I took it. So I would assume that if you wanted to come to a council meeting and stay 6 foot from somebody, you could do so. Or if you wanted to wear a mask, you could still do so. This is the way I take it. Mr. Bridge, did you have any comments on this one?
That's strictly council's decision. I think everyone's correct in the thing that June 2nd, it just goes away. One of the things that we'll have to consider, and Casey, if you can kind of join this conversation, it's a perfect opportunity for you to do that. And I hate to put you on the spot like that. And Casey, please correct me if I misspeak here, but we won't be able to YouTube live it. It will go back to our old ways. And that is, the camera being operated, uploaded to YouTube. Council brings their iPads. We have the Verizon puck. So it won't be live streamed. Casey, is that still a correct statement just due to the internet speed we have available to us up there on Wi-Fi through the puck?
That is correct.
Yeah, so that's something council will have to take. So it won't be instantaneous again, but to upload it to YouTube. So one of the things is what we're waiting on is still the state deciding if public bodies would be able to continue the online meetings regardless of the pandemic being in place or not. A lot of municipalities are getting a lot more feedback and a lot more cooperation with their citizens through the online portal than they were online. So the state hasn't issued any of that to my knowledge. So as soon as we have that, we'll definitely supply it. I'm not going to advise council to wait to make the motion. That's not my place, but there will be information forthcoming.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bridge. So we had a motion by Mr. Grimm, and a second by Mr. Cobb, correct?
Yep.
Linda's got a question, Mike.
Who? Where?
Linda.
Oh, Linda. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
The vaccination rate in town hasn't been exciting. And I'm concerned about, I've got 2 vaccination cards here. I can show that. And I don't know that I can feel safe or trust people who are coming in to all be vaccinated. Just a consideration.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, Ms. Berner, if you would call for the roll, please.
Sure. Vice Mayor Cook.
Or not the roll, I'm sorry, the call for the vote. We're all here still.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald.
No.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowakowski.
No.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
No.
And Councilman Cobb.
Yes.
That vote is accepted 4-3.
All right, thank you, Ms. Berner. Appreciate it as always. And moving on.
We're back to in-person meetings on June, the first one in June.
June 7th, yes.
Correct. And I would assume unless obviously something was to change and he doesn't release his orders as planned, as he stated.
Okay, June 7th.
All right. Whenever you're ready, Randy, take your time.
Gotcha. All right, so moving on with the city manager point, we have the COVID CARES funds. So I attached an informational email to council. I did highlight some things on there. HUD, which is Housing of Urban, HUD, sorry, regarding the CBD CARES Target of Opportunity Funding. So it looks like the state of Ohio will have around $20 million to award. I've had very early discussions with a representative, Dirk from Clark County. He's a grants coordinator, about some of the things that we could feasibly do. So I know a lot of the topic has been around skate park, second shelter house. So that's some of the preliminary things that we had discussed, but I would clearly like to discuss with council. Hopefully you guys have time to read what you can and can't do with these funding opportunities, and just get your opinion on the city going ahead and, trying our best to get a new skate park or a second shelter house particular opportunity.
Council, any comments? We'll go with Mr. Vice Mayor, then to Mr. Roadwall.
I guess I'm a little confused. When we say a second shelter house, can we expand upon the idea? I don't understand that.
Well, we are able to expand our current one, but we also turn a lot of people away on Saturdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So having a second one would allow us to basically have two for rent.
And where has there been any site picked for the second one?
It's really, again, these are just early discussions, but we're probably thinking around Smith Park somewhere.
I guess I'm sitting here thinking, in Smith Park, the feasibility of parking, with the drive out there now being a problem as it already is with the parking in that area. I'm in a state of quandary over this.
Well, the preliminary discussions, and like I said, it really started last week. Remember the Parks and Rec Board wanted to do something similar and make a parking lot off of, what is that street that ends there? Always.
Oh, is that Deerfield?
Washington. They had that little pull-out thing right there that we would expand onto that, and then if you're renting that shelter house, you would access that shelter house through Washington, not the normal one that we currently have now.
Well, could we look at maybe where the picnic tables are, and taking that area and putting it that way, you're up by the playground area up there, and you got the basketball court and tennis court, since the current shelter house has the equipment down that way as well. I mean, if we want to do it, I personally, I would. There's other things I'd like to see other than another shelter house.
What would you like to see?
I'm going to be honest. I'm getting the old Speedway is just an eyesore, and I know the Speedway owns it. But if we can come up with a decent amount of money, what I'm looking at here, I'd love for us to redevelop that into either a veterans park or something right there on the main street. Because no one's going to develop it. Speedway's not going to sell it to anybody that would compete with them. The building itself is not designed to house anything. I don't think a restaurant or anything like that. And the parking situation wouldn't come to it either. Mm-hmm. So I would love for us to do some sort of development there. I like the skate park. I'd love to see it move maybe to the old West Lake site. Get a little bit more in town instead on the outskirts, where more kids, especially those whose parents won't let them go that far. So I'd like to see some investment in the Willowick. I know Derek talked about a dog park. I'd like to see maybe that over on the Scott Street Park. So.
All right. Thank you, Dan. We'll go Ms. Nowakowski, then to Mr. Graham.
I really like the idea of figuring out a way to do something with the old Speedway. I mean, you could effectively turn it into a shelter house where you could have meetings, you could have parties or whatever, and rent it out, and get rid of that eyesore.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Mr. Grimm.
Yeah, there are so many other things that we need to do. We're looking at major renovations to the pool. A lot of other things, like Dan said, something about Speedway property. I think it's a little premature to look at building a new shelter house. That's all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Grimm. Mr. Vice Mayor, sir.
I have no problem at all in actively going after the Speedway property. However, there is not enough parking in that area for, let's say, another shelter house or that type of thing. If we go after it for a veterans park, I'm all for it. I would suggest that we contact Speedway and see if they would make some kind of a donation, since they were paying taxes on it, and for them to get rid of it. The second factor, the ground up there at Westlake is leased. Now, I don't know how much longer there is on that lease, or whether or not the school board would, I guess the word is, break that lease. And I don't know what the terminology would be on that, but I think that would be something that has to be looked into before we would talk about doing that. I don't know. I think we would possibly need some kind of a meeting to sit down and discuss all of these ideas as to who, what, how, when, and where we're doing with the additional, I guess the word is additional shelter house, the Veterans Park, etc. I think this goes back to a council retreat.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. We'll go to Mr. Cobb.
7-Eleven now on Speedway. 7-Eleven bought Speedway out.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes, it is official yet.
No, it's not.
It's in the process. It's
I'm
not.
gonna argue, and it's official. I've already seen it.
Okay, let me jump in, Mr. Bridge, and then I'll get to you.
Yeah.
So, my thoughts is, and I would love to see something done with the Speedway property, but I think it would be, one, I don't think that land hasn't been developed into a business because of Speedway's high asking price of almost $300,000. I wouldn't want to put anything there like a shelter house or a rent, something that we would rent that would take up, a possible location for a good actual business. I'm all for the shelter houses. I mean, I know that, I just from talking in council meetings, I know that we rent them out and we could use a second one and an updated one that we have with a kitchen. I like that idea. The skate park, yes, you could do that as well. Randy, I told you this, and I can't remember what the reply or the exact answer or reasoning was, is, the letter says that they've got up to, I think, $20 or $22 million. I would love to see the attempt at the pool, because that's one of the biggest financial things that we could probably do it on our own, but we could build a shelter house on our own. We could build probably a new skate park on our own. We couldn't float the bill easily on the pool on ourselves. I mean, you're looking, from talking to Mr. Kiko, 1.2 to 1.6 million dollars. But I think if I remember correctly, Mr. Bridges said that wouldn't be feasible, or they gave him some negative pushback or whatever it was on the pool as an idea. But I also know, according to this letter, that this is first come, first serve, and there's some urgency behind this, if I'm not correct, Mr. Bridge.
Yeah, I brought up the pool, and before I back up, I want council to get the Speedway idea out of the head, because if you look at the first bullet point, it says construct a public facility such as a park. The Veterans is a park, don't get me wrong. Serving an LMI area, all of New Carlisle has been considered LMI for this purpose. To provide suitable outdoor fitness and social space where insufficient facilities are available to support social distancing guidelines. So basically, since we don't already have a veterans park, we can't build a new veterans park. This is right on the to help make people spread out. So this is why we came up with the shelter house. We have one, people are packed in there. We have a second, we space them out more. Skate park, current one's small, it's heavily used. We use these funds. We get to hopefully get the new skate park. This is 100% federally funded, no match to the city. And other things we looked at are, what can we do in-house on our own versus if I wanted to change the HVAC system at the city building, we could probably swing that cost on our own. However, we're not able to swing a $600,000-$700,000 skate park. When we went through this, when dirt came down, we went through the possibilities on those two options. So again, to buy land, to invest to make a park that doesn't exist probably ain't going to work with these particular pool of funds.
Why would what was there's got to be a reason why they would say no instantly without any research to the pool, but yes to the other. I mean, did he give you any reasons why?
He just said no, it wouldn't be good. It would probably win the funding because if they're giving a lot of money to build pools, I think everyone and their brother would probably want to build a pool, I'm assuming. All I got was a hardcore no. I can ask him for further guidance on that. But, say we go ahead and spend $1 or $2 million on our pool now or upgrade the ones we have, we're just setting ourselves up for another set, 5-10 years down the road of another big ticket item that's going to continually cost the city money. So it may be new for 5 to 10 years, but eventually we're going to get back into this maintenance going back and forth. And if I remember correctly, I think we're supposed to have a discussion about the future of that pool with council soon.
So could we, I'll get back to you. Go ahead, Mr. Cobb.
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to be rude. Could we reach out to him and ask him why it was an instant no right off the bat? I mean, because the pool meets every bit of criteria that's in his letter. It makes no sense to me why it would be a no, even if it wasn't the whole funding for the pool, the 1.2. I mean, if we got 500,000 to go towards it, then that saves us a boatload of money that we can put into it ourselves.
We would have to expand the pool for other people to be. They're not going to give us $500,000 to put a new line in. You're not increasing capacity. You're not increasing social distancing. It would be literally to go ahead and to expand the pool we have, just based off these criteria. To expand the pool that we have, we build a new one. But the fact that when I brought it up, he was just like, no, right off the bat. There is some back end information that he probably knows about. Again, this is Dirk. He's a grant coordinator for the county. I'll be more than happy to reach out and get more detailed information if he can supply me with it, and then give it back to council. But I would sit there and argue that he's got some experience with this particular grant program because he's many years experience with working with federal grants that he knows just historically they don't do very well with these type of fundings.
Okay, Mr. Cobb, sir.
Didn't we hear a while back discuss looking at asking the citizens if they wanted a pool tax or a pool or whatever we want to call it, a tax to build a new pool?
Yeah, we discussed that, and me and Mr. Bridge and Mr. Kitco actually had a conversation, a few weeks back about council getting together and just sitting down and what do we want to do? Let's just cut the chase. What do we want to do? So that's something that we can, maybe set up at, in another couple meetings, because I know I don't want to pull Howie into a meeting any more than necessary just because he is so busy right now with the streets and the pool. And, maybe we could wait a few weeks or another month or two when maybe some things start to slow down. We could dig into that. That's just my 2 cents.
Oh,
but, yeah, definitely needs to take place.
Oh, I was
Trying to hear
looking.
about why with this.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Maybe if we wait a couple of weeks to discuss that, we might have some more information with this particular funding source about why.
Right.
Yeah.
All I was looking at was rather than dump all kinds of money in the existing pool now, it is take it to the taxpayers and see if they would support it on building a new pool.
Right. Well, that's, I think, what we need to
And
do.
I don't mean to do it tonight. I mean,
Yeah, most definitely. I agree. I mean, and that's what we need to do. We'll have a meeting, and see what would be the best route and option to move forward or to tear it down or whatever council wants to do. So I would just like to wait a little bit longer, me personally, just so we give Howie's, a little time to get some of his projects caught up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, right now we can survive with what we got down there now
Right.
and look towards the future is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that till you go to taxpayers and ask them.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Cobb. Anyone else? Mr. Grimm. Then I'm sorry. Ms. Nowakowski. Then we'll go to Mr. Grimm. You're down in my left corner and you're blending in kind of. Go ahead.
We've got a school coming down on a huge piece of land that could be developed into a place for the public to gather and do things. And why don't we think about how we can use that money to do that so that when it comes down, we have direction. We've got a parking lot there that would allow for sufficient parking for activities that are going on.
Well, I think doesn't it, I'd have to scan back to the letter, but doesn't the letter say it's got to be something that's more or less existing, like a park, or expand on something, Mr. Bridge?
And as it says, social space where insufficient facilities are available, support social distancing guidelines.
Right. Okay. All right. Mr. Grimm.
This goes back to the original statement about building a second shelter house. Whatever happened to the idea of expanding the shelter house we have and the lane going back to it? I know we had talked about things like adding a kitchenette. Whatever happened with
Councilman when COVID hit to put that stuff off a year.
Yeah. I remember it was kind of put to the side or kicked to the curb for temporary or until council wanted to visit it again.
I think we ought to visit it again.
Yeah, let's visit it again. Mr. Was you good, Mr. Grimm?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rodwell.
Yeah, and Dirk's letter here, it highlights acquisition, construction, reconstruction, or installation of public work facilities and site or other improvements. So it says construct a public facility such as a park.
Okay.
So it says we can, again, we can use the funds to acquire something, we can buy,
You said a note from Derek. I didn't work.
Page 60.
From Dirk, not Derek.
From Dirk.
What is he saying here? Where do you see it at?
Page 60 of the
Council packet.
Of the packet. Sorry, thank you, Linda.
All right, fair enough. Good. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, well, that was a all over the place discussion. So Randy, I know that read the letter. This is kind of a first come, first serve with the grants, and it looked like there was some urgency behind this. So,
you guys, would council mind if I see if Dirk has availability to join us? Oh, it's in person, so I don't know if he's going to feel comfortable coming.
Well, here's the thing. Could we do a quick, because I don't want to lose it. Even, let's just say we can't do a pool, we can't do, the memorial park, whatever it may be, but we still could get, a shelter house updated or a skate park. I'd rather get something than nothing. I don't want to lose out on the opportunity either way. So would it be best to maybe see if we can get an ASAP meeting together with him via Zoom?
It would have to be a special meeting. So council would have to set that date, and then we would have to go off his availability.
I'll make a motion to have that meeting.
Well, it's hard to make the date though, because we don't know his availability.
And his
So
can be.
I don't know if we can, I don't know if we can set a meeting legally without knowing the date.
Tell you what, I'll reach out to Dirk, find out what the deadline is. We may be fine just to wait till the next meeting.
Okay.
So if that's, I'll just call council based off his dates, and then if council can join, great. As long as we have the majority of you there, I don't see another solution to an easier solution to kind of get the date set up without kind of doing that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that'll work. If you can get availability with him and then shoot us an email.
And then just call a special meeting.
Yeah, let's do that.
Awesome. Sound good?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Is that what you, Mr. Vice Mayor, was that all? You were nodding your
Yes, that was my approach to this, to get with Dirk, call a special meeting at that point, all of council, we sit down. My feeling is if there's some time during the day, and I know that some of you work, some of the rest of us has days that we can't get in, but if we can do this on a day basis, when we would have more time to get together and discuss this at a greater length rather than 8 o'clock at night, I think we can probably work things out a lot better.
Yep, I agree. Randy, and please don't take that we're not appreciative of what you brought forward, sir. I just, I think with, kind of the golden opportunity, if you will, everyone wants to get the information and make sure that they can make a good decision. So
that is how this process works. I bring things to you guys, you decide, and that's how it works. I'm not good. So back to the Dirk meeting thing. If time is not of a necessity and he is comfortable to show up in person, having Dirk at the June 7th meeting is okay as well with council?
Yes.
That good? Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Okay. Are we good to move on?
We are, sir.
All right. So American Rescue Plan, half of the disbursement will be deposited soon. I did check with Colleen today, our finance director, see if we had got that first half disbursement. We have not to date. May 11th was about the time that we're supposed to get those, but the federal government did grant the states 30 additional days if they needed it to get those funds dispersed to the entities. Again, we are still waiting on those. I don't have it on here. Website, we're supposed to launch here very soon. We actually had to push that back to June 1st. That is a Tuesday. That is due to a mixture of a few departments not supplying information, and then the timeliness of some other things that need to be done on the back end. So again, we did have to push that off. We are now shooting for June 1st. I updated the list of ongoing projects for City Council. Please review those. If you have any questions about those, just shoot me an email. And I believe that's all I have for the city manager report.
All right, council, any questions for Mr. Bridge, the city manager? Mr. Grimm.
We had brought up possibility of a community cleanup. I know Mr. Bridge said that because of the governor's orders, the Pride workers will not be available. Maybe Sergeant Lehman could chime in here. Since they're being dropped on the June 2nd, would Pride workers be available for a community cleanup in late June, or can we look for volunteers?
I'm sorry.
I know it's community.
Got anything on that, Sergeant Lehman?
Mr. Grimm, I'd honestly have to run that by the sheriff because most of the inmates are interstate. They clean up the interstate now. That's actually paid for a grant through the state of Ohio. So, I would have to run that past them. Now, I do know there is, Deputy Tillman, Deputy Bennett run the trash program. So maybe that's more what we could aim for if they could come out and do something. But it is something that I will discuss and get back with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Kitco, did you have anything else? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I didn't even get started. But thank you. I did talk to the director that oversees the solid waste district, who basically works with Tillman and Bennett. And basically, a lot of it was COVID, but they got so much stuff to do.
Okay.
And they're limited on who's approved for the Pride. Not everybody gets that opportunity to do that. I can reach out again, just saying with these COVID restrictions coming to an end, does that change anything? I can double. That was just about 2 weeks ago when I talked to him.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All righty. Mr. Bridge, thank you for the report as always, sir. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on. Let's see. Some comments from the members of the public. Mr. Bridge.
Give me 1 second. We still have the same one from before. Am I going to read this again?
Please.
Okay. All right. So it's from. It's not loading correctly. Give me this. From Deborah Bryant sent to Peggy Eggleston and Vice Mayor Bill Cook. The three ladies are, and the subject line is outstanding citizens. The three ladies are Tilly Jameson, Nancy Daly, and Dana Bobolick. All of them have gone out of their way to help the citizens of New Carlisle. I recently met Tilly at the library when I was at the book sale. She made sure our brains did not suffer during the lockdown with free crafts and activities, and she is still providing crafts and activities for us for free. Nancy Daly is a wonderful person. Whenever someone finds a pet, she helps reconnect it with its owner. Same if a beloved pet runs away. She points New Carlisle to the shelters or the finders who may have the animal. I have seen where she assists the surrounding counties also for free. I have never met her, but she is a very kind and caring person. Last is Dana Bobolick. I have never met her, but I'm sure if you have, you are grateful. When some of our citizens were having a hard time getting food during the lockdown, she delivered it for free. The posts I remember seeing on Facebook were like, if you need food, I will be at the old Speedway at 8. She had milk and meats and all kinds of stuff for anyone that needed it. I remember she had a list of families in need. I'm sure she saves lives. All three of these ladies deserve our thanks. All three ask nothing in return. This is just a small portion of the ways these ladies were and are part of what makes our city great. As citizens of New Carlisle, we should show our appreciation. If you would kindly forward this message, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Let's see. Does anyone have any comments on that one? We'll go with Mr. Vice Mayor, then Ms. Nowakowski, then to Ms. Eggleston.
If you would so desire, I think that we could set up a committee of either council persons or a couple of council people and a couple of citizens that would want to entertain Citizen of the Year and make this an event that we would do at the town meeting,
Okay. Oh, good. You mean like at the town hall?
town hall meeting, right?
And when you brought that up before, I mean, is it normally just one person or could it be more than one?
It could be any amount of people depending upon what the committee would select.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Ms. Nowakowski.
Oh, I just think that those three individuals are so outstanding in terms of serving this community. The work that Tilly has done is completely incredible. She's involved so many people and gotten so many programs going and crafts, and it's incredible.
Thank you. And Ms. Eggleston.
I agree with Vice Mayor. I mean, we need to set something up. I would like to see these three ladies recognized. They go above and beyond serving this community, and they don't ask for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Tilly has been amazing with the projects that she's come up with through this lockdown. Nancy, I mean, you mentioned there's a dog missing or found, and she is on it. She is out looking for it or
Ms.
helping
Eggleston,
get it.
Ms. Eggleston, let me stop you for just a second. I apologize. Mr. Cobb?
No.
Yeah.
Chief?
Chief.
Chief. He's got his stuff turned off.
Yeah. I think Steve's already on the way.
Did he log off?
He went muted.
Chief's been muted.
He on his way?
Do they have, they have a key to his house, Todd?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Peg, I apologize. Go ahead.
That's all right. Nancy she spends her own money. I mean, to help people out when they're in dire straits with their pets. And Dana, she fed more people over the last year than I can even imagine.
Yeah.
But I think this could be something that we could do annually. But I think something needs to be done to recognize these three ladies.
I would agree. Mr. Vice Mayor, I do like your idea. I think maybe that's something we do, and when we do our town halls, I think that would be a great way to spin it. So go ahead, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Mr. Bridge, do we have money set aside for, let's say, plaques for these folks?
It's not going to be line item specific, but I mean, we can pull money. Those are minimal, very minimal.
Yeah. I guess what I'm looking at, if we have a committee and somebody else comes up and suggests so-and-so, then it isn't a slam dunk that these ladies have been, I guess the word is approached, or we've been nominated for this, and we can entertain all of it.
Well, I think, we mentioned in the work session too, that we're going to put, I think Mr. Bridge is going to put that on the next work session for discussion, so we can maybe iron out some, give everybody a little bit of time to do their Googling and check how other cities do some of their.
Right, I can do that.
Yeah, so, Ms. Nowakowski.
How about before our next meeting? When is the web page going up? Randy?
First.
June 1.
So that would be before the next meeting, right?
Yes.
It would be neat to be able to open up the new thing and ask for volunteers to be on a committee to select citizen S of the year for New Carlisle.
I don't think it needs to get real complicated. I think what we would do is, in my opinion, we just send out basically, kind of like what we were doing with the yard awards, submit to council. You can send it to all of council or one council member, who, what, when, where, and why you want to nominate this person. We all compile our list and we just go over it as a group, and we pick a winner or multiple. If it's a group of people like Miss Eggleston was suggesting, I'm all for it. I don't think we need to overcomplicate it. I think we could handle it all through social media or emails. Can we kill his feed, Mr.?
I thought I killed.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So, but that is going to be on the disc. Go ahead, Mr. Bridge.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I think if council, whatever you guys choose to do, I like what you said, keep it uncomplicated. What I'd be willing to do, if you guys get an email, just forward me that particular email. I'll keep an Excel sheet of who sent the email, the name, who they want to nominate, or the date or something. That way, when you guys go look, like I keep a centralized Excel sheet, and then you guys just forward it. And then when you want to review them, I'll email it to you. Something simple.
That would, I think that'd be perfect. Simple, quick, and easy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you for offering that, Mr. Bridge.
I love it.
All right. Anything? So we read that letter. We went over that letter, and thank you again to those ladies. Sounds like council's already agreeing on cooking up something for all the hard work you have done. So we appreciate it. We appreciate the email pointing that out. I think a lot of us see that on social media already, but it's still nice to receive those emails. So moving on. No other comments, correct, Mr. Bridge?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, and moving on to resolutions, Ms. Berner, it is time for you to shine.
All right, tonight we have one resolution, Resolution 2021-11R, introduction tonight. Public hearing and action on May 17th, 2021. A resolution amending Resolution 2020-21R, the Capital Improvement Program for the City of New Carlisle, Ohio, for additional capital purchases and amending capital purchase prices.
Council,
So moved.
Second.
motion by Ms. Eggleston, second by Mr. Rodwald.
And an explanation of this ordinance, this will allow us to amend the already approved CIP to account for a few new items, namely a new police cruiser for our police department, increasing the city's portion of the Madison Street demolition cost, putting lights on a new command vehicle, and then turnout gear washer for the fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Council, any discussion? And when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
All right, Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald.
Yes.
That motion passes 6-0. Moving on to our ordinances. We have ordinance 2021-10. This was introduced on May 3rd, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance authorizing the expenditure of funds over $20,000 for the rehabilitation, pump inspection, and repair of well number 6.
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Vice Mayor, second by Mr. Grimm.
And an explanation of this ordinance, the city manager monetary spending limit is $20,000. Anything over $20,000, we need to go through council to get approved. So this is for the rehabilitation, pump inspection, and repair of well 6. The dollar amount shall not exceed $24,000.
All right. Council, any discussion, question, comments? All right, when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
Okay. Councilman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
That motion passes 6-0. Moving on to ordinance 2021-11, introduced on May 3rd, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance supplementing certain appropriations contained in New Carlisle City Ordinance 2021-01.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion by Ms. Eggleston,
Second.
Second.
second by Ms. Noakowski.
All right, the explanation of this ordinance. This is the ordinance supplementing appropriations that were contained in our original budget. So we need to increase appropriations $116,302 for various issues ranging from general fund improvement, general fund, I cannot speak. General fund increase for the Madison Street School demo. And then, like I said earlier, with the CIP, the fire capital, and the new cruiser.
All right, council, any questions for Mr. Blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
All right, when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski, sorry.
Off on you now.
Did
Did
you
you
get her
say-
vote? I didn't
I-
hear.
Say yes? Okay. That motion passes 6-0. Okay, we are on 1, 2, 3, ordinance 2021-12, introduced on May 3rd, public hearing and action tonight. And ordinance amending chapter 248 of the codified ordinances of the city of New Carlisle regarding city policy.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Eggleston, second by Vice Mayor Cook.
All right, and explanation of this, this amends chapter 248. We wanted to look at an investment policy for the city, and that is what we have in front of council tonight. This is just step one to get the policy in action. There'll be some subsequent legislation later on regarding investing with Red Tree, and I'll be setting up a meeting with Mr. Trimmer here very soon.
All right. Thank you. Council, any questions? All right, when you're ready. Ms. Brennan?
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook.
yes,
Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to ordinance 2021-13, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on June 7th, 2021. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the New Carlisle Public Library regarding a story walk program. Ordinance 2021-14, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on June 7th, 2021. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Clark County, Ohio, and the sheriff of Clark County, Ohio, for the incarceration, maintenance, and care of prisoners prosecuted in the New Carlisle Mayor's Court. And our last one is ordinance 2021-15E, introduction, public hearing, and action tonight. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a joint partnership agreement for the Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program, the CHIP 2021, with Clark County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
I'll
Council,
move.
motion by Ms. Eggleston,
Second.
second by Ms. Noakowski.
An explanation of this ordinance. This is an emergency ordinance, so it will bypass the second reading and also the effective date. But due to the deadline to apply for this program, we are requesting that be an emergency ordinance. But what it'll do is allow us to go into work with Clark County to go as a partner. Again, what we said in the work session is the total award amount, if we are approved, would be $700,000. 400 of that would be used in Clark County, 300 specific in New Carlisle City proper. And again, those range from assistance to buy homes, repair homes, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very excited about the opportunity.
Definitely. Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Council, any questions for Mr. Bridge on that one? All right, and when you're ready, Ms. Berner.
Okay, Councilwoman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
yes,
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski.
Yes.
That passes 6-0.
All right, thank you, Ms. Berner. And other business. Let's see. Go ahead, Mr. Vice Mayor.
do we need a motion to excuse Mr. Cobb?
I was going to ask for one.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor, second by Ms. Eggleston to excuse Mr. Cobb.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes,
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwall,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
Yes.
Accepted 6-0.
All right, thank you. And I just want to, hopefully everything's okay on Mr. Cobb's end. And, obvious reasons, I want to thank Chief Trusty and his crew for, always being on their A game, no matter what. It seems like there was a nice post about you guys actually the other day. It's on Facebook about how well you guys handled the situation. So again, hats off to you, Chief, and your team. You guys do an excellent job. Thank you so much.
Mr. Cobb just said to tell everyone that he's going to bow out for the rest of the evening and take it easy. We're not transporting him to the hospital. His son is coming over to be with him.
Okay, good news. Thank you very much. All right, with that being said, any other discussion, council, before we call it a night?
I just have two quick things.
Sure.
I had someone ask me, we're going to do the community garage sale this year, right?
That's a good question. It's really, we just pick a date and we put it out there and they all just organize and do it on that date. There's not much involvement from us, is there, Mr. Bridge?
No, it's a set date every year. It's been like that now for a couple of years. It's always we did a Facebook poll on it, I think 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's the last weekend in June, essentially. So this year's.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But it was a lot for us to come in and they call, get individual address. We put the legal ad
Yeah.
out. You know, there'd be people that were struck. It was a lot. So how we handle it now is just set up. It's the 4th weekend in June every year and go to town, and it seems to work because it's been heavily attended.
Yeah.
Okay. Sugar Shelf is having their grand opening this weekend in their new location, and I think that somebody from council should represent the city.
Yeah, I'll be there if as long as I don't get called into work. I'll be more than happy to go down as long as I can make it, and hopefully some other council members can go.
You said that's this Saturday?
Yeah, it's the 22nd from 10 to 3.
10 to 3?
Yes.
Okay, they got great candles there. I'll go. I can't wear half the other stuff in the store because
Even though I'm losing rent money, I'll still be there.
oh,
I
Yeah,
thought they were keeping.
Oh,
They're
okay.
not. I thought they were keeping the other building for storage.
No, she says she has enough room over there,
That stinks.
but I have people interested. So
Good.
Dale has people.
my people are on it.
I was disappointed when they opened because I saw Sugar Shelf. I thought it was gonna be like an old-fashioned candy store. To find out it's like women's stuff.
I had a lot of
down.
people ask me, is it going to be a candy store?
Yeah, I know. So
I
but
don't
that's
know.
great. That's great that they're doing good though. It's really great for them.
Yeah.
They are very creative with their sales too.
Yes.
How they do the live streaming. I know my daughter and wife they're always on there watching it, spending money on stuff. So good for them. So all right. Anything else?
good.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Grimm, second by Ms. Eggleston.
Second was Eggleston.
Yes.
All right. Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Rodwald,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
and Councilman Eggleston.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn accepted 6-0.
All right, everyone. Have a great night.
Did we excuse Ron?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
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 Bye-bye.